Eye on Southwest Louisiana Sports, sponsored by Gordon McKernan.
National championships, Olympic trials, Lake Charles. How did this happen? The boxing world comes to Lake Charles for the first time ever, and we're going to be on Eye on Sports. We'll be with you. And today we have Mike McAtee from USA Boxing. Biggest question is, what are you doing in Lake Charles?
Well, we're here to box. I can tell you, we're excited about being here in Lake Charles. Eric from the CBB is just very strong.
Yeah, we've had him on the show, and he pushes Lake Charles hard.
Yes, he has. And everything so far that he promised, you all have delivered. One of it being just, a great town, great people, fantastic food.
Yeah, that's a problem for me so far. The years I've been here, that's become a problem.
Well, we warned our coaches about keeping the kids away from the great restaurants, but our coaches are eating great. But no, seriously, Louisiana has a great boxing tradition, and coming to Lake Charles will be able to host our 2020 Olympic trials and then our 2019 national championships is just an honor to be here, and we're excited. And so far, Lake Charles has just been fantastic host.
Obviously, the Olympics thing gets a lot of play because of the name and every 4 years and that. But the national championships for you guys are probably more important because there's more levels to it than that. That's really your fundamentals every year, isn't it?
Yes, it's a great question too. And as Americans, we always just kind of focus on our
every 4 years.
Every 4 years. Well, our coach, who's Billy Walsh from Ireland, always talks about America wants to be the champions of America, 300 million. Pretty good. Mm-hmm. He goes, the rest of the world wants to be champions of the world, 6 billion. So we have 13 kids, young people, that'll be representing the USA against, the rest of the world. So our national championships, this tournament is the beginning of our road to Paris 2024. So the kids that are boxing in the youth division right now will be of age in 2024. So it's the end of one cycle and the beginning of the next. And this is how we identify talent, is at this national championship. So not only are you going to see our Olympic team from 2020, you're going to see future Olympians for 2024, and then our 8 and 9 year olds are going to be representing us in 2028 in LA. So that's a totally cycle. So we're actually working on 3 Olympic Games right now.
So realistically, the kids you see here at 8 and 9 years old are the kids that will represent us in our own country
in 2028.
That's amazing to me. And 8 and 9 years old, boxing is amazing to me. I put on soccer boppers in this one in the basement, was all I ever did. But I'm going to ask you this. From what I understand is Dallas was in the running, Las Vegas, and Las Vegas and boxing are the mix. How does Lake Charles steal that?
Well, boxing is a family business. And, we have our 11,000 coaches that are all volunteers. And they will spend money to support their kids. And we have 32,000 boxers in this country. 800 of them are here. And so economics played a great role. Thank you. Great role. Too many body shots to the head when I was boxing. A great role in that. But also, we want to come to towns where the city embraces us. And that was one of the things Eric talked about, that, Lake Charles will support you. And he is 100%. Everybody's been behind us. I was at Walmart the other night and had people coming up thanking us to come to Lake Charles. So, the family atmosphere pulls in real good with us.
That's one thing I want to ask you, because, when it was announced, some people in this town were like, oh, what is that exactly? But as it got closer, there was kind of a ramp up. Did you guys kind of feel that when you came to town, that this town is embracing? I mean, it's not a huge media capital like a Vegas or a Dallas, but what's here has embraced you.
100%. Totally embraced. I came out for a site visit, just worked with everybody. Everybody from, the CVB, the city, and our great sponsors have all gotten behind us. And then everybody that's been to the bout so far have been wonderful. So I think it's a great opportunity for USA Boxing to showcase what we think and what I say are the best boxers in the world, and also be able to provide great opportunity for the city.
Now, you guys are going to be here all week, but your championships are at the casino.
Yes.
Golden Nugget. obviously boxing casinos, that's what everybody talks about. But how important is it for this town to get not only you guys here once a year, because I know you guys have talked about coming back and back and back, but also getting boxing going in the city to kind of keep the name going throughout the year?
Great question. Having hometown kids, always, you have that storyline. And what we like to, talk about with boxing is, we'll have 13 that'll represent this country, or opportunity to represent the country at the Olympic Games, but we have 32,000 other kids that are in boxing gyms all over. So if we can keep it going here, we grow boxing in Lake Charles, Louisiana. That grows boxing in Louisiana, which grows boxing in California. The more boxing, the better.
With that in mind, though, is there an attempt for you guys to bring other events here, as far as a weekend of boxing, or I don't know, a championship fight at some point? Is that a possibility, or is that something you kind of have to look at and see what you get with this week?
A little bit of both. The other component of it is because we're one of 55 national governing bodies, it also gives opportunities because we have the United States Olympic Paralympic Committee members here, that other Olympic sports can come to this community. So it's good moving, not only just for boxing, but other Olympic style sports.
It puts us on the map, I guess.
Totally.
Well, we like that. When we come back with Mike, we'll talk about the future of boxing and U.S. boxing in general on Ion Sports. Be right back. We're back with Mike McAtee, Executive Director, USA Boxing. Mike, Lake Charles, now a home for at least now in a few years. What will we have to do to sell it to you permanently? Or at least for a next cycle?
Well, the best thing is let's take care of business this week. We are committed to coming back to Lake Charles. We think it's a great location. It's great for our market. Our three biggest markets are New York, California, and Texas. So, and it's pretty centrally located for us. You have fantastic weather. We're in Colorado Springs, Olympic City, USA. It's nice when you leave a foot of snow and come down here and the air conditioning's going on in the car.
Yes.
So, the big thing
don't
is,
be here in June, though. Don't July.
Yeah. But, we're going to take care of business. And so we want to embrace the city, and we're hoping that they'll embrace us. We have a very strong local boxing committee here in Louisiana that is part of USA Boxing. So, the stronger that committee is, or that boxing entity, the local level, it helps us when we're picking places to bring our members.
We were talking beforehand, and I know we talk about Olympics and all that, but you guys are really every year. It's not every 4 years, it's every year you guys are at it. How important is it to sell the sport of boxing? Because we've heard of the demise of boxing many times. We've heard about how the other sports, the other fightings is going to take it away, but you told me boxing was actually up because of the other sports.
Yes.
So how do you get that kind of conveyed when all we hear about is the kind of hoopla on TV of somebody throwing a chair into a bus or something?
Well, that was that was MMA. It wasn't boxing.
I know.
In honesty, the Floyd Mayweather-McGregor fight helped boxing probably more than anything, because I think what it showed is we had MMA, which is a very tough combat sport, but boxing is a sweet science. And if you look at MMA bouts and a guy goes down and they're stopped, they'll jump on top of him and keep hitting him. Mm-hmm. If you remember back at the end of that fight, Floyd Mayweather was dominating him, hit him several unanswered punches. He looks over at the referee like, are you going to stop this fight? Because this is a sport, and it's a sweet science. And you'll see these kids, they'll compete as hard as they can, and when that bell rings, they stop, they hug each other, and there's a lot of respect. And that's the beauty of our sport. It teaches respect, self-confidence, delayed gratification. So having MMA has helped us because they need to be able to box. And then the combat sport in a controlled and professional manner has really helped us.
Now, out here, how many championships are going to be decided? National championships? The 13 Olympics is one thing, but
you got your 13 weight classes, but we also have boxers, pee-wee boxers that are 8 years old. Then we have bantams, intermediates, JOs, and youth. So technically we have 150 some titles that are available, and a lot of those are contested we're real excited. We had bantam boxers, which are 12 or 13, that we had so many that they were boxing last night. So, you know, we're reloading already for 2024, and you know, our membership is up and boxing is rising.
You say that, and it's interesting because we hear about football's down because parents don't want their kids to play football. We don't hear that as much about boxing. Now, you guys use headgear, so it's completely different than the professional level.
Right.
But how safe is boxing, and how confident are you that that sport will continue to grow?
I can tell you the CDC, we don't even make their top 10 list when it comes to concussions. And we have over 500 volunteer doctors that work our events. We have 1,800 boxing shows a year, and they're required to have a doctor at every single one of them, and that's been around since the 80s. What I like to tell people is we've been in the concussion business, you know, for years. It's a very honest sport. Our headgears, our gloves are tested for impact absorption. So our concussion levels are some of the lowest in any amateur sport. And the reason is you protect your head, and you're same age, same weight, same experience. So you're not getting blindsided. You're not a 16-year-old running down the field playing football weighing 135 pounds and getting hit by broadside by a linebacker, and it's a whipping action of
It's 235, 240, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of misinformation because people see boxing and they think, oh, head trauma, but actually concussions are very, very, very rare.
But as far as the kids now, you say you start them at 8 and 9 years old in these rings?
Yes.
Do you find that the kids do stay with it? The ones, I mean, is there a lot of kids that say, are the 8 and 9 year olds that are going to be in the Olympics?
Yes, we'll have a few. You know, the kids that we have right now that are, you know, like Duke Reagan, started boxing when he was 9, and he's here competing. Silver medalist at World Championships. So, but most of our boxers are like most sports. They're going to be from 12 to 18. Then they, you know, other choices in life. But you know, we focus on the younger ones, but also you get the 12 to 16-year-old adolescents, which gives them a place to make good choices as opposed to bad choices.
People that come out the weekend especially, what kind of boxing are they going to see?
The best boxing in the world. I will tell you, our boxers that are competing that'll be at the games, especially if they come out to the finals at the Golden Nugget, those boxers we expect to do real well. The best, I can tell you that at the Pan Am Games this year, it was the best we've done since 1983.
And how important is it to do well in Tokyo?
Do well at Tokyo.
Is that all the marbles?
It's all the marbles. That's where we get our funding. A lot of our funding from sponsors, but the USOPC, and it's about winning. But also it's about carrying the story on. So Tokyo is important, and we're going to be ready.
Well, I hope you put on a good show. Hope we give you a good show this week. Mike McAtee, USA Boxing. We'll be back right after this. And we're back with segment 3 with Jenny Fushu, Louisiana State University, Houston native.
Yes.
And now you get to come home to box, kind of. What does it mean for you to bring it to the area and kind of show people what boxing's all about?
Well, when they announced that they were having the Olympic trials in Lake Charles in Louisiana, where I started, it automatically became special to me because it's like bringing it back home. And a lot of people I started with haven't seen me box in years. And I know they've been following me, but they still haven't really gotten to see how much I've progressed since I started here. So I already know I have a bunch of my buddies from LSU coming to support me at the end of the week. There's going to be a big purple gold stand all around this arena, and they're going to be really loud. So I mean, it's something that I have that all the other boxers here don't have. Just I want to like represent. I'm representing, you know, America obviously, but I'm obviously also representing Louisiana and where I started boxing, where it began.
To that, what does it mean to you to be able to bring back to Louisiana that? Because, you know, we've never had anything like this in this area before.
Right.
So you're kind of not only selling yourself, but you're selling the sport itself, and also bring it to a whole group of people, especially young women that maybe don't know much about boxing, but because you're a local, because you started here, you can kind of show them where they can go.
Right. And I know Louisiana has a long history of boxing, and the past couple of years, not many boxers have been coming out of Louisiana. They've been kind of stuck in here or fighting here, even pros that I know. So I'm glad that I'm the person to show, like, yeah, I started here, but I've also progressed outside Louisiana and outside the country, fighting worldwide, and that you guys can do it too. 'Cause even though I'm not originally from here, but my boxing birth is here, so I wanted to show them that you can start here and you can grow and fight in worldwide level.
What about for women also? Because, you know,
Yeah.
obviously the men get a lot of attention when it comes to pro boxing. You hear of a few women here and there, but Leila Ali, obviously because of her name, kind of started some things for women boxers. But where is that sport now, and where can you guys take it?
Well, when I first began boxing, women were still, not very recognized. Women's boxing still wasn't in the Olympics when I began, and then when it was announced they were putting it in 2010, that's definitely changed, and it's growing a lot. Even in the pros, we're starting to get a little more recognition. Yes, it's definitely not the same. We definitely have a long ways to go to make it the same, but I think the progression, if we continue with this progression and show people like we can fight just as hard as the guys and we can perform just as well as them, that it's going to be more, we're going to be on the same equality kind of in this sport, same level, yeah.
We've seen over the years how the Olympic movement with women's sports especially kind of gets them started, and then the professionals take off after that.
Right.
WNBA being one of them, soccer. But for boxing, have you seen that growth now that you're in the Olympics, that the attention is there, the interest is there, and you bring it back after Olympic Games?
Exactly, definitely see it now that, like, my two old teammates, Clarissa Shields and Michaela Mayer, who are doing awesome in the pros right now, are part of that change right now. And thanks to them, they're going to make it easier for my transition when I turn pro, and that's what we need. We need good amateurs that have done well, including like Clarissa, two gold medals back to back, first American male or female to do that. Now is dominating the pros, so that is showing the world, okay, these amateur women are coming to the pros and dominating and changing the game, and that's exactly what we need.
With that in mind, what does it mean to represent the United States Boxing Association and the United States in the Olympics? Because traditionally we've had very good boxing teams.
Right.
And they have propelled guys to millions of dollars.
Yes.
But what does it mean when you're over there as a representative of the United States with that history behind you?
I mean, that means everything. It's always been my dream to go to the Olympics, and when I'm traveling and fighting worldwide, and I know I have the USA on my back, it's awesome. I'm like, okay, I'm that person that gets to represent my country out of anybody in America. So it's just really something special. It keeps me so motivated. It keeps me an honorable person and humble, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
How does a woman or a young girl get into boxing? Because it doesn't seem like it's a natural progression into
Right.
street fighting to boxing. How do you get into that? How do you get started? And what kind of drives you? Because you gotta want to get hit every once in a while.
Right. Well, everybody has their own story of why they began. Mine is a little different. I've actually never had a street fight in my life or anything. And never stepped in a boxing gym until I was 21. But I've been involved in athletics all my life. I went to LSU actually to run for them for a little bit. But just during college, I had met a professional boxer. We became really good friends and was watching him train and got to watch him compete. And I was like, this looks fun. This is a sport I've never done. I want to try boxing. So yeah, he took me to where he started as an amateur. And first day, I just fell in love with the sport because it was like all aspects of athletics in one. Power, speed, agility, endurance, reaction time, all that into one really interests me. And so I was like, I want to try sparring. And when I first got hit, I didn't think anything of it. It didn't bother me. And it actually was like, okay, let me hit you now. So I don't know, it became such a great passion of mine. And I knew, again, that women were coming up in the boxing world. And so I kind of wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be one of the pioneers, and that's also why I was like, I'm gonna go for this. And also the outlet to go to the Olympics became in 2010, and so that also drove me to keep pushing hard.
Is there something about being a woman athlete that people kind of, when you say I'm a boxer, it's one thing to say I run track, I'm a boxer, and you're smallish in stature.
Yeah.
does that shock people, or are they like, what do you mean you're a boxer?
Yeah, people come up to me like, oh, you're definitely an athlete. What sport do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a boxing. And they're like, oh, boxing. Yeah, it's a answer they don't expect, and yeah, they definitely are surprised. But they're like, oh my God, that is so cool. And I feel like, because like I said, I've done all athletics, and every time I was like, yeah, I'm a runner. They're like, oh, okay. But it's totally different reaction now that I say a boxer. Everybody seems more interested in that than just a runner.
I would imagine so. Now, the one thing that always strikes me about women boxing is like with, unlike the men where everybody's looking for the one punch, it seems like women are a little bit more, I don't know if it's tactical or they kind of develop a different style than men, because men, a lot of it is the big punch.
Right.
Where you guys seem to be more of the attack mode and then a style type. Do you see that?
Yeah, I honestly think we don't let our egos get in the way in the ring, honestly. And I think guys kind of have trouble with that sometimes. And we're more of like, I'm not going to let this woman beat me. I know I'm the best kind of mentality. And yeah, I think, I don't want to say we're more technical than the men. That's, see, each individual's different, type of style. But I think we're more dedicated in the terms of getting in there with a strategy no matter what, not trying to let emotions get in the way.
And first time here as far as boxing goes, how have you been treated by the people?
Oh, well, yes. I can't really have nothing bad to say.
Did you know much about Lake Charles beforehand?
Not besides driving
through it?
Driving through it,
Over the bridge?
Going to Louisiana and going back home to Houston. We got
casinos.
We got casinos, and I knew everybody would go to Lake Charles for the casino, so that's pretty much what I knew about it. But no, I've been very welcomed here, and I'm having so much fun.
Important, obviously, to put on a good show here, but make the Olympics and really set yourself for Tokyo, right?
Yep, that's the plan.
That's the plan?
Yes.
All right. Well, I thank Jenny for joining us. We'll be back next week on Eye on Sports. Thank you.